Hi, this is Zhao with the Xinhua News Agency. Here is an inoculation site for COVID-19 vaccine here in Beijing. And there has been a steady stream of people arriving for their first dose. So let's go and have a look at how everything is working now here. So, 您好，请问一下，我们是新华社的记者，麻烦问一下，就是您是做什么工作的？
餐饮方面的。
Alright, so she's working for a catering business. 那咱们这次的这个接种疫苗是组织的还是您个人来的？
组织的。
So the vaccination was organized by your company, right? Is it mandatory or voluntary? 这是自愿的呢，还是说是强制的呢？
我们自愿的。
It's on a voluntary basis. 好嘞，行，谢谢您。Alright, 谢谢。Okay, so now let's go in and have a look at what's inside for the vaccination. So as we could see, we have to have our temperature taken here before we line up for the vaccination later. So we could see many people here, but they still maintain sort of social distancing. On December 15th, 2020, China officially launched a vaccination program for this winter-spring period, targeting several key groups. So the key groups include those engaged in a handling of imported cold chain products, customs officers, medical workers, and people working in public transport and fresh produce markets. And here, the recipients are filling in a form for their consent to vaccination. They need to write down their name. And they are required to read through the consent form to ensure they have no any pre-existing disease or other health problems which will prevent them from vaccination. So the medical staff member here is telling her to see whether she has some of the pre-existing diseases or not. If no, she could tick here saying no. Okay. And also, she needs to write her ID number and a phone number here. 哎，您好，就是咱们这里填完这个表之后，就可以确认他们是能否接种了，是吧？
对，初期的话，这个他们的个人身体状况如果没有什么问题的话，就到后边登记台登记接种就行了这块主要是初筛一下。
好嘞。
如果他身体有什么问题的话，在这儿初步能判断一下。
Staff member said that this is for the recipients to see whether they are able to receive the vaccination or not. So they are screened preliminarily here because the staff member, as I said, will ask them if they have any health problems. So if no, here we could see this is a registration area, and they are going to register their information here for the vaccination later. So this is for registration here, and they are showing their ID card and have their ID card connected with the system of the vaccination. And after registration, they could go on for the vaccination over here. So it's a time for vaccination to take place. On December 15th, 2020, China officially launched a vaccination program for this winter-spring period, targeting several key groups. The key groups include those engaged in the handling of imported cold chain products, customs officers, medical workers, and people working in public transport and fresh produce markets. And so some of them are in the key groups here, also including the catering business workers, frontline workers. So this is the area for vaccination. And Beijing plans to complete the inoculation for the key groups I just mentioned before the Spring Festival or the Chinese New Year, which falls on February 12th this year. The vaccination will take place. She said she's a little nervous. All right, it's done.你好，感觉怎么样？看你刚才稍微有一点点紧张，刚开始，现在感觉怎么样？呀，
我对打针我挺害怕的，我确实挺怕。
但是疼吗？觉得疼吗？
还好，
还好是吧？啊 ，OK. She said she felt really nervous at the very beginning, but after that, still a little scary, but a little scared, but she didn't feel much pain. All right, let's move on. Actually, China approved the emergency use of COVID-19 vaccines in June last year, targeting groups with a high risk of infection. By the end of November last year, more than 1.5 million doses of Chinese COVID-19 vaccines have been distributed for emergency use. All right, the medical worker is going to administer the jab. Okay. 你好，感觉疼吗？ Did you feel any pain?
感觉挺舒服的。
不疼是吧？
不疼。
Okay, 谢谢。He didn't feel any pain. So vaccination goes on here. And China always attaches great importance to the safety and effectiveness to any vaccine, and also the same case here for this year's COVID-19 vaccine. And China has emphasized the importance of providing medical support and service. It especially applies to timely treatment and reporting of adverse reactions during the vaccination drive. The National Medical Products Administration also established a traceability information system for the management of approved vaccines. And here, it is worth mentioning that the COVID-19 vaccines are free of charge to all Chinese people here. And authoritative studies show that Chinese-made inactivated vaccines can be more easily stored and delivered via the current cold chain system, including greater accessibility without extra delivery cost, according to Foreign Ministry of China. 你好，就是咱们这边是还有一些注意事项就在这上面。
对对
是吧
对，因为我们发的那个宣传页有好多人不看的，然后我们为了再次加强他的印象，然后呢再次给他提醒注意这些事项。我们怕到时候引起一些并发症嘛，我们把这个宣传页再给他，然后再叮嘱他，这样相当于3遍4遍的去叮嘱他，这样更加深印象，对于咱们注射以后的效果更好。
好嘞，行，谢谢。So they are here to make sure and to ensure the recipients will just follow the orders here on this brochure or on this paper, and make sure they are not going to have some of the adverse reactions later after the vaccination, and they cannot drink any alcohol within the next 3 days. All right. After the vaccination, here we could see this is an area for post-vaccination observation. So here they are going to stay here for half an hour. So if they become unwell, they could signal to the medical staff here for medical treatment. 您好，请问一下，您是刚接种完是吧？在这里留观，看着您非常开心 ，You seem very happy here. 您心里感觉现在怎么样呢？ How do you feel now?
挺开心这个。
He said he's very happy. Why? 为什么？
这个国家这个给这个福利吧，也是我们那个自己的人身安全都得到了保障。很感谢国家这个事。
好的 Thank you very much. He said that this is also a welfare granted by China, by the country, because he also can feel safe after the vaccination. And it's worth mentioning again that all the vaccine here for the Chinese people are free of charge. So they could just come here, get the doses and literally just get the vaccine here. All right. 谢谢 Thank you very much. Here we could see some delivery men who have a very cute hat. 哎，你好，看您的帽子特别可爱。我们是新华社的记者，可以简单问您几句，就是您刚才接种完，现在感觉怎么样？有没有觉得比较安全之类的？ What are the words you want to share with us?
我就是觉得它比较安全嘛，所以才来接种的，然后现在也能放下心了吧。
He has trust in the vaccinating, so he feels safe right now. 那包括您是美团外卖，然后送外卖的话，对顾客其实也是一种保障，对吧？
是这样的，对的。然后我有时候接触，我也自己觉得有点不放心嘛。
So he said that he doesn't have to worry about the safety or infection now because of the vaccination, or that he can also make the customer do not worry about any infection and make others feel relieved. 好，谢谢您，谢谢。All right. And also here we could see there is a emergency area, maybe for the any adverse reactions they could come here. So there also a medical staff members, they are walking around to see whether the recipients have any adverse reactions or not. 哎，您好，老师您好，我们是新华社的记者，就是请问一下，就是您在这边主要是做什么？
我刚还是做就是医疗救治医疗保障的这一块工作负责。
Alright, she is mainly deal with the medical treatment here. 那咱们最近您在这里看到有一些咱们的接种者会有一些不良反应吗？
没有，现在没有发现这个接种疫苗之后出现的不良反应，没有。
Alright, so far there hasn't been any adverse reactions for the recipients so far here reported. 好嘞，行，那咱们这边是如果是要是有这些不良反应的话，假如说有不良反应的话，会在这里得到及时的处置，是吧？In case of any adverse reaction.
就在这儿应急处置区，如果病人如果接种的居民朋友出现了有疫苗后的疑似这种不良反应，我们会立马得到救治。
我们可以简单看一下那边吗？
可以。
So in case of any emergency or any severe adverse reactions, so the recipients could come here for medical treatment. 好，这是咱们的一些设备是吧？ They are the facilities.
我们的一些抢救的一些应急的设备，心电图机、插管所用的，还有这个氧气管、血压计啊这些的啊。
Alright, so they are just the basic facilities for emergency usage. If there is any emergency or adverse reaction. 那我们好像是不是外面还有一些包括一些急救的保障吗？
外面有120院外就是在这个外面有个120在等待如果说有突发事件，我们可以就是互相联系，然后送到急救的医院去救治，再进一步去救治。
The ambulances are also on site, just outside of this place. They are waiting for just in case of any emergency usage. 好嘞，行，谢谢您，谢谢，谢谢。And just over there, I just saw there is some tea available here. Let's have a look. Yeah, it's interesting to see that here is some tea available, and it's with ginger and dates. So having a cup of tea like this will be very, very enjoyable in such a cold day. It's quite considerate for the recipients here. They could have a cup of tea. So this is the observation area. And China has promised and championed from the very beginning that COVID-19 vaccines developed in the country will be made a global public good when they are available. So the first batch of 3 million doses of COVID-19 vaccine developed by China's Sinovac Biotech arrived in Turkish capital Ankara last week. Egypt licensed China's inactivated COVID-19 vaccine for emergency use. The United Arab Emirates and Bahrain have approved the Chinese inactivated vaccine registration according to the World Health Organization technical standards, while other countries including Brazil, Indonesia, Chile, and Malaysia have ordered vaccines developed by the China's Sinobiotech. And it's about the international cooperation for the COVID-19 vaccine. With this vaccine, there will be a new chapter for the whole world. So this is pretty much what I have today for you. Until next time, thank you for watching. Bye.